All right, everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Beyond Broke and Hungry. This week we are interviewing Jourdan Rystrom, who is a singer-songwriter and inspirational speaker, and she is founder of Awaken the Glow. Jourdan, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So first off, we like to keep things light in here. So what's the weirdest thing that happened to you this week?
The weirdest thing that's happened to me this week. That's a really...
Bet you didn't see that one coming.
I did not see that coming. Oh my goodness. I mean, my life is just filled with weird. So I would have to say, I consider weird magical, so just like all the magic that happens in my life on a daily basis. But I think for me, I've been doing a lot of self-healing and clearing this week, when normally I'm teaching that to others, but there's always times for me to like bring it back to me and like up level. And so I cried a lot this week, and I think that's weird in a good way.
Yeah. Heard that.
I love a good cry.
Yeah, I love a good cry. Sometimes you need it.
Yeah, feel it all.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself. Tell us your whole history. I know it's a long story, but we got time, so go ahead.
Really? Okay. I mean, if you want. So I was born and raised in a small town of Minnesota. So I think you said you have some friends there.
Yeah, I do.
So I grew up in this small town and from a young age, I knew I was here to be a singer, a songwriter, an inspirational speaker, and just be on stage. I felt from age 3 to 4, like I felt safer and more alive on stage than off.
Oh, wow. I get that.
Yeah. And I just knew that. And so I grew up, my dad was a musician and a singer-songwriter. And so he would play coffee shops, and growing up, I would just sing right along with him. And I learned how to do harmonies that way. And really so I still to this day, whenever I'm in a demo session, the producers are like, oh my God, you harmonize like so well, and you can come up with all these layers. And it's like, yeah, I've literally been doing it since I was 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's fun. And so I grew up kind of in the spotlight, being fully encouraged by both of my parents to do whatever I want. I can live the life I want. And basically, I didn't have any limits placed on me, which was really helpful growing up. Now I'm not saying that we had everything financially stable, but in terms of the emotional support from my parents,
Sure, that's important.
It's huge. I really think it's the most important thing. And so I grew up, being the lead in musicals and like winning all these art contests. And I was just this little like star child kind of in my full power. And I really, really loved my life. Now, with my father being an amazing musician with visceral music that touches the soul, he also struggled with drugs and alcohol. As many of our stories,
Sure.
we struggle with something, right? Usually. And it's something to overcome. So anyway, my dad, he was in and out of rehabs, in and out of different hospitals, having his body give out on him due to the drug and alcohol use, which was something that he always was very ashamed of. He never wanted to show our families that this was something that affected him. He always would do it away from us so that we didn't know. And it was really hurtful because we had such a connection. Well, we still have such a connection, like a spiritual, deep, when you write great music, it's like that connection. And I had that with my dad. And so it was hard for me to watch him go through that. And I couldn't empathize because I hadn't had that experience yet. We'll get to that point. And so when I was 13 years old, I was at the height of my like musical career. I was hired by like Bethel College and all these different colleges to be like a child actress, like Mary Lennox and Bethel College's The Secret Garden and all of that stuff. And so I was like in newspapers and winning contests, and I was so free. And then I get the call that my dad had an accident and he fell over at work and had a seizure and a cardiac arrest. And that just completely rocked my entire life, losing my best friend. And my mom, so there's a whole story to that too, but long story short with that is that he was in the ICU, so they actually got his heart started again after 23 minutes of him being dead.
Oh my God.
23 minutes. And so we're in the ICU room and the doctor said, okay, he's got 72 hours to wake up. There's a 10% chance that he's ever going to wake up. within these 72 hours. And after that, it's a 0% chance because he's basically brain dead. He has an anoxic brain injury. There's been no oxygen to the brain for 23 minutes. And so we're singing, we had pastors come in, we had our church members come in. I've always been very involved in my church. And we just had everyone come in and just pray for him and sing with him. And there was a moment at the 72-hour mark. Let me back up. 1 hour before that, I received my first ever message from God. Or whoever's listening, it's God, universe, divine, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever your higher power is.
Whatever your higher power is. Sure. For me, they're all interchangeable. Mm-hmm. And so I received my first message at age 13. And that message was, he's not going to die. He's going to walk you down the aisle at your wedding. He's not going to die. He's going to walk you down the aisle at your wedding. And you guys, I'm not kidding. Like I was not a girly girl. I was more of a tomboy. I did not care about weddings when I was 13. So I knew that this wasn't coming from me. I knew it was coming from a higher divine source. And so, we had been in and out of sleep and wakingness in this ICU room. That was basically our new home for the last 3 days. And I remember becoming alert, my body standing up. And I remember running to my mom saying, Mom, he's not going to die. He's going to walk me down the aisle at my wedding. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's a message that I received. And my mom, of course, is weeping because she's planning to lose her husband and making funeral arrangements, right? And so I think she kind of was pew pew, Jourdan, step aside. And so then that next hour was when everyone gathered in the room. They were going to unhook his ventilator. And my mom is holding his hand and she's pleading, Todd, open your eyes. And I'm standing at the foot of the bed and I start singing Amazing Grace. And in that moment, he opened his eyes. And I
actually have tears building up in my eyes right now. Oh my God. Amazing. Wow.
And from that moment, my life has become a Lifetime movie, basically.
Give Hallmark a call.
I know. It started with the child stardom on the Bravo show, and then you upgraded to Lifetime.
I am determined to get this to Oprah or Ellen and share my story.
Obviously, Oprah's going to listen to our podcast.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. We'll manifest that.
Yes.
It is happening. And so from that moment, I just had this new vigor for life and this connection, this divine connection that I'd always believed in God, but I actually received a divine message.
Sure.
And I knew that okay, I'm here for something greater. I'm here for something greater. And I've always believed that. Mm. And so from that point on though, now let's get into the whole self-healing thing. Mm. When we're children, especially between the ages of 0 and 8, but oftentimes before our brains are fully developed before 18, we take on stuff from our parents, society, our teachers, our friends. We take on limiting beliefs and programming that runs our entire life through our adulthood.
Right. Being a kid, you're basically a sponge and you just absorb what's around you, and you don't know how to decipher yet what's true, what's not, what's good, what's bad. You just absorb it.
Absolutely.
As it is.
Because you're in a state of theta, and that brainwave of theta, that's a hypnotic state. I'm a certified hypnotherapist now, so I can explain all of this scientifically, but I was in a state that basically when a trauma happens to you when you're young, you make it mean something. Your subconscious makes it mean something, and you pop into a survival mode methodology of programming. And so basically when I lost my dad, I made that mean I'm all alone in this world. And I have to be independent, and I can't, I made it mean I can't accept support. I'm all alone. It's me against the world. Mm. And so I kind of took on this persona of I lost my best friend, the only person who understood me, because no one at school understood me. I never felt understood. I always felt like this outcast, and people would try to tease me, but I just was pew pew. I was like, I'm.
I love that.
I was so determined to become a singer in Hollywood Hills that I knew that I wasn't going to stay in Minnesota. So anything someone said to me, I didn't allow it to affect me. And so I was you can bully me all you want, but I'm going to buy you a Lamborghini someday.
Not even, I'm going to wave at you in my Lamborghini. Hey.
I was no, I'm going to give back, even though you've been hurting me all these years.
You're a better person than I am.
Tell us about, you said you went to Berkeley for college. So tell us about that.
Yes. So, fast track from there on. I decided I needed to get out of Minnesota as soon as possible because everyone in my family took on pain. They took on a hurt, a trauma from losing my father. And it just wasn't the best home life. And so I was determined to leave Minnesota and to make a better life for myself. That was my thought process at the time. And so I got a scholarship to attend Berklee College of Music for singing. So vocal performance, songwriting.
I was a voice major too.
Yay, high five.
Yeah.
Yeah, vocal performance, songwriting, and music therapy. And those were the 3 things that I studied. And I was just so encouraged by their music therapy program that I actually didn't end up graduating with that major, but I dabbled in all the classes and realized like music is so healing. The energy of, everything's energy, obviously, but the energy of the vibrations of music, using our voices and instruments is so healing. And so that always stuck with me, and attended the school, graduated in 3 years, got things, done. And there I met my first serious boyfriend who ended up being pretty emotionally and mentally abusive. But I didn't know it at the time because I was really young, I was 18, 19 years old. And so he kind of became a father figure, except an authoritarian father figure for me. Right. And he was like, he's like, I know what's best for you. You're going to do this class and this class and this class. And you should graduate with the songwriting major, because if you do that, then we're going to be able to graduate at the same time, early action, and we can go to LA and become famous.
Wow.
Yes. All right. And so
That's a plan.
I followed the plan, but I became very resentful within. I became very, I didn't know that I was in the codependency. It's like you never really know until you're actually out of it and you can see clearly. Yeah. And so I was like, yeah, he didn't like when I had friends, all of that stuff. And so fast forward to moving to LA together, we graduated and now we're in this whole new city. And things with him started getting more abusive to the point of where it became physical. Mm-hmm. And that is where I drew the line. That's where I, and I have so much empathy for women who get out of this earlier than that, but that was where I had to draw the line when he threatened to kill me with a knife. And I was like, that's not going to work anymore. And
bye. All right. Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
See you never.
Literally. And I wrote a song about it called Tell Me What's Left to Say. Yeah. But it's like, I'll never forget the moment where I called my mom and I was shaking and I'm in this new city, not knowing anyone other than him, saying, Mom, this happened, what should I do? And she goes, call 911. And so all of that ensued. Basically, he moved out. I was then left alone to my own devices in LA, not knowing how to cope, not knowing how to heal, and just having the last 3 years being with one person and not knowing what to do, and also being so resentful because I was held back from being my truly authentic, expressed self.
Yeah, so you pretty much have to learn who you are all over again in
yes.
a situation like that.
Yes. And so I threw myself fully into the Hollywood party scene, and I lived in Hollywood Hills. I moved right to where I said I wanted to be. I said I wanted to be a singer, and I just threw myself into this scene of drugs and alcohol and partying and meeting celebrities and being friends with celebrities and I know this person, this person, this person. It was just all such a facade, and it was always me looking for that connection again that I had when I was 13, but looking for it outside of myself, looking for it synthetically instead of organically. And so and then on top of that, I'm still producing my music. And so 2 of my songs end up getting picked up on a worldwide TV show. Wow. The Bold and the Beautiful. It's a soap opera.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
Huge.
I'm 22 years old. These songs get picked up, and literally overnight, 15,000 song downloads. Because this was back when people were still downloading music.
Actually buying it,
Shazamming it. I had a fan club. People were sending me drawings and lyrics of my music, and I'm just like, what? Yeah. And again, I'm living alone, and I did not know how to handle it. Yeah. And so that's where my fear of success started kicking in hardcore. And I was also a YouTuber, so I was making conscious comedy videos with a friend. And everything just kind of came to a point of where I was like, I can't handle this. I don't know how to do it. This is too much, right? It can't be this good. And so then that's when a friend said to me, who's a fellow YouTuber, they said, here, try this. It's called Adderall, and it'll really help you focus so that you can be successful.
I think I know where this is going.
And that took me down a very, very, very dark road from 2012 to 2015, where I completely lost all aspects of who I was and went into the deep, dark depths of drug addiction with a drug that's prescribed and quote unquote legal to so many people.
And it can really wipe your personality.
Yes.
It's crazy. Adderall has it's so strong.
I was prescribed Adderall when I was in college and by my psychiatrist, and after he was like, try this for a couple weeks and then come back and we'll see how you feel. And I literally came back and I was like, I haven't slept in 3 weeks. I do not want this. So then he gave me Vyvanse and that was better. But I don't like depending on drugs. I have PCOS, so I have to take supplements and certain medications because my body can't function without them. I can function without those types of drugs. So when I wouldn't take them on those days, I was depressed in college because it was my serotonin levels would go up and then they'd go straight down when it wore off, or if I didn't take it. So it's dangerous. It really is dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it zombified me, completely zombified me, and took all of my lightness, all of my fun, all of my the true self, gone, zombified for years. And now in the meantime, I'm actually running a holistic wellness center in Los Angeles, and I'm the jet. I know. I'm telling you. Really ironic. I'm telling you, you're getting the shortened version of this. There's a lot more, but I was the managing director, leading transformation programs in this holistic wellness center, helping people lose weight, feel better. And I've been doing that since age 21. And here, now we're kind of skipping forward to, 2014, 2015. And I'm living a life of a fraud. I'm living the life of such inconsistency, where I was a very high functioning addict, very high functioning, whatever label, addict, alcoholic, whatever you want to put on it. I was high functioning. Right. And then I would be popping pills in the bathroom, snorting coke in the bathroom. I mean, it spread to other things. It didn't really matter for me what it was. I just wanted to numb and get out of my body because I was so afraid to feel all the feelings that I had suppressed my entire life.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah. And so then there was a light at the end of the tunnel. It's funny, through codependency again, because of course men, right? And so
men.
I met this guy. I was broken up with, first of all, I was in a relationship for 3 years. He didn't know about my Adderall addiction. I hid it from him throughout all of our relationship.
Wow. 3 years.
Yes. And he didn't, I wasn't taking it when we first met, but halfway through I started taking it, and I was awake for 6 days at a time and I'd sleep on the 7th. I felt like God, I was on the 3rd day he rose again, Right, yeah. And I just didn't people were he was what's wrong, Jourdan? But I would never tell him because I was so ashamed, so deeply, deeply ashamed. Guess what? Just like my dad, when I was a little girl, he was so deeply ashamed. And so I actually, through this experience, was able to step into the empathy and the true compassion, into feeling what my dad felt, but knowing that this time I could overcome it.
Right.
And so there was a night when I had this clarity. I had another message come through, and the clarity was, take photos of your entire experience. Document your entire experience as a high functioning, using lost person, because someone's going to need to hear your story someday. So, and here I literally took photos of my face. That was because Adderall is amphetamine. It's like baby meth. So my face would just bleed. It didn't matter how much makeup I put on, my face would just have these open sores and bleed like a meth addict. Wow. And then I remember I took photos and video of where I lived, and I was holed up in this home, awake for 6 days at a time. And I'll show you the pictures. I made it my goal to collect every single Post-it note in every single size and every single color, because I was so hyper focused, being on this drug.
Right.
And so here's all the Post-it notes around my home, literally a legitimate crazy person. And I remember documenting that. And then I remember I finally decided to come clean to my boyfriend at the time. Mm-hmm. And this was the three-year relationship that I really did think he was the one. Mm-hmm. And I came clean to him. And he broke up with me.
Wow.
he left me. So again, what did I make that mean? I made that mean when I'm authentically myself and honest with people, they reject me. And so I just got so sad and broken, and he like ghosted me after 3 years, like wouldn't respond to a text or a call still to this day. I send him all the love, and I've done a lot of healing work around it, but I never got that closure. I had to give myself the closure. And so then comes along like 6 months later, another guy, and we hop right into a relationship,
Because that's what you do.
That's what you do, right? Good old guys. And so he was in recovery. So he was in a 12-step program, and I didn't really know what that meant because I kind of forgot. I had forgotten what it was like with living with my dad, who was in 12-step programs, but I think I was too young to remember that stuff. And so this guy, on the third day that we were dating, he said to me, "Hey, honey, I think you're an addict." And I'm like, "Oh, what? How dare you say that to me?
Gosh.
How dare you?" I was so offended. And he was like, "The way that you think, the way that you respond." He's like, "I know I'm not supposed to like self-diagnose for you, but like I think he's like, would you want to come to a 12-step meeting with me?" And of course, my codependent self, who wants to be loved, said, "Okay, I'll come to a meeting with you," because I wanted to be loved by him. I wanted to be accepted by him. And so then I go to this meeting, I see an old man talking up front, and I'm like, how am I ever going to relate to this guy? And this old man tells my story, and I'm just weeping by the end of the meeting. And I'm like, okay, I think I want to like get, what's the word, sober? Like, I think I want to do this. And pretty much from that day on, I decided to, I had one moment of relapse, which was necessary. It was Halloween night where I was like, well, I bought these Halloween trolley tickets where it's like free drinks all night, so we have to go because I bought them. And then that was like the last night where I really realized that like I can't say no. Like I need to just surrender.
I think it's really important to know too who you are, and like some people can, they can have one drink and stop. Mm-hmm. Some people can't. And to know your own body and how your brain works, and if you aren't going to be able to stop, to just walk away and never be around it for your own like health.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for me, it was for me, I call it The Art of Surrender, and that's actually the title of the book I'm writing right now. And it's just about like I knew that in order to live my greatest purpose here on earth, that drugs and alcohol were not to be a part of it for me. And again, that's not putting it on anyone else or saying what anyone else should or shouldn't do, but for me, it just doesn't work. I can't channel my highest and greatest, light. And so I gave it up and my clean date, which they call it, is November 1st, 2015. And from that day, I've never had a craving for another drink or a drug. And I know that's not normal. Like a lot of people usually struggle with it, but I've never had another want for any of that. And my life has completely changed from that moment on. And I went into self-development work, just all sorts of healing, not only through that program, which by the way, that boyfriend, he was an angel because he ended up relapsing 20 days later and leaving my life. And it was so hard to go through that and actually to feel things without having that bottle of wine or that tub of ice cream. Well, I guess I could have still had ice cream, but I didn't numb anymore. I committed to no longer numbing and to actually feel again. And so when I lost him, he was just an angel that came in to get me to the place that I'm at now. And then, he left my life and I went into major healing process. And that's when I started channeling God again. I started channeling that voice, and it was almost like the angels were like, hallelujah, hallelujah, oh my God, you did it. They're like, we have been waiting for you. Right. Like literally, they're like, we've been waiting for you to make the decision because we couldn't make it for you. Right. You had to we
were right here.
Yeah, you had to have the free will, and you had to make the free will choice to do this. And so I did it, and I immediately started channeling what to do next. And it was like I was guided by Archangel Michael, who I still communicate with directly, and source directly. And so like they literally tell me what to do on a daily basis. I was guided to study Reiki, energy healing. I was guided to study crystal healing and hypnotherapy, and just like build this life to not only heal myself first and foremost, but to also help others. So I was guided to study all of these self-healing modalities, and it changed my life, and I built a business out of it. And with music, and I know we're going to get to that too, but with my music career, you know, you do need finances and money to come in to invest in yourself and your music. And so I was like, what is my skill set that I have that I can make massive amounts of money and even better, massive amounts of impact with? And it was teaching what I learned, you know, really, because I've been learning this for years and being able to integrate it. And so I decided to build my own business. It's called Awaken the Glow. And it's all about, I've developed my own signature one-on-one transformation program, which I lead people through 4 months of breakthrough coaching, healing. We do past life regressions, we go all over the spiritual realm too, healing all the traumas with the parents and, you know, all of that stuff. And then also I teach something called tapping, EFT. Are you guys familiar with that? Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful process. Basically, I call it self-hate into self-love. And so through tapping on different neurological points of the body, we can release stuck emotions that have been stuck in our cellular structure that then manifest into disease. Wow. And so we can actually remove disease. You can heal your own body by doing this work. And so, yeah, so I teach that. I have it all. I have this signature program. And to be honest with you, it has been the greatest thing I've ever done because I get to give back. And I have clients who are just so, so grateful and having these amazing breakthroughs every single day, every single session. And I just love to be able to give support and to give love and to be in that energy of abundance and manifesting and teaching everyone everything I know and getting paid to do it, you know, and then people investing in themselves because they want the transformation. So it's been great.
You're talking more about your sessions and such. I'd love to hear more about what those look like. Do you go to people's homes for this? Do they come to you? Do you have an office? And what tends to happen in your sessions? Love to hear more about that.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a loaded question. So in my program, actually 90% of my clients are on Zoom. So most people that I work with do not even live locally. They don't live in Nashville. They live in Germany, or they live in LA, or they live in New York or Florida or somewhere else entirely. And so, well, other planets, no. Not yet. I haven't yet had that client, but I'm waiting for it. It's possible. And so most of my sessions are done over Zoom video chat.
Okay.
So I can work with anyone in the world. There's no limits, which is really great. And then
it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, right? It is. It's how people are finding us through here.
Yeah.
Today.
Definitely.
And then the 10% of the clients that I do see in person, they will come to my home office, which is right upstairs from where we're recording here. And so I have a little healing space with like 1,000+ crystals and singing bowls, which I do music therapy with, and all sorts of healing. And so how the program looks is the client is going to receive 12 sessions of hypnotherapy, which is the deep, deep subconscious work, which I honestly, when I found hypnosis and the power behind working with the subconscious mind as opposed to just conscious talk therapy, which like you can talk in circles, but logically and analytically, you're not making like the major breakthroughs that you can make in the subconscious where we developed everything as kids.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed for myself, I used to think that venting was good for me, but I just would find myself talking in circles. And I find that for me personally, like talking it out doesn't tend to help. It just tends to affirm what I'm already feeling.
Yeah. And so that's where the tapping comes in, because when you're tapping, that actually opens up an energetic portal for clearing that stuff out. So I always tell my clients, if you're going to vent while tapping, because tapping is going to open it up to like shoot that stuff out. And then but if you're venting while not tapping, then you're just manifesting it. We don't want to be recreating that experience, because our perception is our reality, and we're only creating the reality of wherever our perception is at that time.
Right.
And so, so my clients get 12 sessions of hypnotherapy, which is like 1 hour long each. We coach, we kind of hop online together. It's a mixture of breakthrough coaching, intuitive coaching, and hypnosis, where I lead the sessions through, and it's very co-creative. Then the clients will also get 4 sessions of energy work, energy healing, which we can do either distance or in person. And then they get a past life regression, which that's a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. But those are really amazing at helping heal unexplained phobias, unexplained like symptoms or diseases that you're like, I don't know how I got this. It's usually because of something that's not from this lifetime or beyond. And then also as a spiritual, as we're spiritual beings having a human experience, I'm able to lead you up into the spirit realm. So whether you want to call that heaven, paradise, spirit world, or whatever, we can actually have conversations with God, with your angels, your guides, your ancestors, to receive your life purpose, your soul purpose, and any answers that you have in this lifetime. I mean, it's unbelievable stuff that, it's next level, like new paradigm type shit that I'm just so excited to have been able to create and learn. I've learned from the best mentors and coaches because I did choose to invest in myself after getting sober. I was like, I choose to love myself. I choose to have the self-respect and the worthiness to put my money where my mouth is and to learn this stuff and to get certified because, I feel like so many of us are too afraid to invest in ourselves. We're too afraid to say like, I'm worthy of this.
Yeah.
And then we buy things instead, or we buy we put our money in other places that's not, we're our own best investment. 100%.
Definitely. So kind of switching things a little bit back to you.
Yeah.
So when's the last time that you felt, say, like anxious, and how do you pull yourself out of that?
Good question. This week, remember we talked about the weirdness and the crying? So I do what I teach, I really put that into practice. And so I felt anxious just yesterday. I got a new client on board, and for some reason, it's funny. It's like the more success I have and the more clients I have, the more that self-saboteur comes in, and the sphere of success. I'm like, and then I start tapping. That's when I tap myself and I'm like, oh my God, can I handle this? Can I handle all of this? Can it really be this easy? Can it really be this easy for me to make money and make impact? Like, am I bad? Am I bad for making money? Like all of these limiting beliefs that were, taught to me over the years that we took in, again, we absorbed like a sponge. I'm still tapping them out because there's always a new layer to get to. And so I do the tapping techniques. I reach out to my coach, which not only for my clients do I provide unlimited Voxer access to me, which is like audio messaging whenever they need support, but I hire a coach, and I have a coach that I reach out to, multiple coaches actually. And so I'll be like, hey, I'm going through this right now and I'm in a couple masterminds. So I'll hop on the mastermind call. I'll be like, this is what I'm going through right now, you guys, help me. And it's usually next level stuff. It's next level fears that I'm in right now, which I'm grateful to be in this world because we're just always getting to the next level of the game, right? The adventure of life.
Yeah. So just to play devil's advocate, I'm sure people probably tell you sometimes, like, how do you know that's real? Or how do you know if the tapping is really working or if it's a placebo effect and it's more in your own mind? So could you kind of speak to that?
Definitely. A lot of people come at me with the hypnosis and the past life regression. Like, how do you know that that's real? And the answer is, I don't.
That's fair.
But guess what? If you're getting the healing result, does it matter? That's my question. If you're getting the healing, like my clients get amazing results where their lives are changed going forward so that they can create what they want to create in this world. If that's the result, does it matter if it was real or if your subconscious mind just came up with a story?
That's fair.
That's my answer to that part. And then the second part about the tapping is you feel the difference when you tap, when you learn how to tap correctly. So there's a lot of stuff online, and I always recommend, like, I have a few videos that people can look up where I teach it in a totally different way than you're going to learn online. I do I call it down and dirty tapping. We go deep into the self-hate. So all of that venting, tapping while venting is going to release so much and just going to bring you clarity, energy, lightness, and freedom. So you feel that shift. There's no one that I've ever worked with has not felt a shift in tapping.
I'm just sitting here like fascinated by everything that you're saying, to be totally honest, like taking it all in. I'm just like, it is it's just like it really incredible that you have been able to like establish this, and like from having those years when you were kind of codependent on the drugs and the alcohol, and like being able to really turn your life around and help other people. Like I know that you had said before that, you kind of always knew that impact was something that you were put on this like planet for, and like dealing with that like fear of success sometimes. But like, aside from the fear of success, what does it feel like when a client is having a breakthrough, or they're kind of like praising you because like embrace the good feeling? Like, how does that feel for you?
Absolutely. Well, first I remind them that I'm just a reflection of themselves, and they've attracted me just as I've attracted them. And so we're co-creating this experience together. And so not because I don't want them to make me a guru or think that I'm better than them, because I'm not. I'm just a human being just like everyone. We're all equal, and we all have something amazing to offer. And so what I do is I revel. Like this morning, I had a client this morning who we had amazing breakthroughs with tapping about her mom who had already died and all of the hatred that she still held, but she didn't want to address the hatred because she had died. She's like, I can't say I hate my mom because she died and I have to honor her. I'm like, BS. Your emotions are not logical. They're not rational, but we still need to get them out. And so I actually pretended to be her mom, and I said all these things that her mom would say at her. And so she's tapping and she's feeling and she's releasing all this stuff. And then we go into a hypnosis and just bing, bang, boom, clear a bunch of stuff in the subconscious. And so that was a session just this morning where she was like, wow, Jourdan, I'm so grateful for you. I just want you to know that I'm so grateful that I found you. I'm so grateful that I invested in myself, chose to do that and like do your program. And like, it's only been a month and I've had the most amazing breakthroughs, and I can't wait until 3 months later, because it's a 4-month program. And she's like, thank you. And so what I do is I receive. So the practice of receiving too. So many of us, especially in the wellness world or in the music world, we just push off compliments. And that is limiting us.
Dara's literally glaring at me right now.
No, but like if
she's like, you're so pretty, and I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, you are. Both of you are beautiful. You're beautiful souls. And so that's one practice that people listening to this podcast can put into play. When someone gives you a compliment, practice actually receiving it. Practice actually breathing it in, breathing in the energy, because everything's energy. So when someone's giving you a compliment, they're sending you love and light and positivity. So breathe that in, take it in. And so what I do in those moments is I put my hand over my heart and I take a breath and I'm like, thank you for that. I receive that. And I want to remind you that I'm just a reflection of you. So congratulations on being here. It is an honor and a privilege to work with you.
That's awesome. So one last question before we kind of get into our our wrap up ending questions, which there are still a bunch of.
I know I had all these like things too, and I didn't say any of them.
Well, and you can touch on that a little bit too, but how will people know if they should reach out to someone like you or or say just any sort of life coach and healing? If they don't necessarily feel broken, what are some signs that they should be really pursuing that?
So they don't feel broken, but they're still not successful?
Yeah, maybe they're just like, I don't know, I just feel like I've been floating for a long time and I'm not making a ton of money. I'm not super happy. I'm just kind of doing and going through the motions.
Then what I would say is you're comfortably numb.
Yeah. And
I'm not here to tell anyone they're broken. That's not what we're saying. But by being comfortably numb, that's not serving you. It's not. And so what I would say is when you're ready and willing to do the work, then look for a coach, look for a healer. But a lot of people, they're not ready. They don't want to go deep. And a lot of people that are floating through life, they're like, I don't want to do anything that makes me even a little bit uncomfortable. Because if you work with me, like, we're going to get uncomfortable, but guess what? That doesn't mean it's bad. That doesn't mean it's wrong. And it actually, I always tell my clients, I'm like, we're going to have a fun adventure. It might be uncomfortable, but you're going to immediately feel freedom and you're going to love it. And you're going to get addicted to this fun adventure. And so for me, transformation is fun. yes, there is uncomfortability, and yes, you have to be willing to do the work, do the process, and face it. So I would recommend that when someone's ready to do the work and they're like, all right, baby, let's do it. I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and have the unconditional love and support, then look for someone. And if it's not working with me, make sure that you're trusting the person, you're looking into them, reading their reviews, because, you know, you're trusting your heart with this person. And I don't mean that in a limiting way, but I mean, like, just really make sure that you have a soul connection with them before you dive into this work, and then you're going to have amazing results.
Awesome. Well, let's go into kind of our ending questions. First off, what does self-care mean to you?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's such a loaded question. Self-care means that you honor and respect yourself enough to feel everything no matter what.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you want to
I'm just like, damn. Well, I mean, 'cause that's so true, because even sadness or depression or, you know, anything like that, if you don't feel it, if you don't accept it, you can't move past it, you can't heal from it. So that's so true. Like, you definitely, I mean, and as much as like I come from a family that's like, we don't talk, we sweep our emotions under the rug, we just we dust our shoulders off and we keep going and we don't talk about it. And my dad made a comment a few years back that, you know, before he got saved, that he wanted to hold on to his demons because in case he needed them. And it's just like, no, like, you let them go. Like, you don't ever need them, because all it's going to do is bring you down. So that, I need to work on that, because I definitely, when I'm upset about something, like, I hold on to it, or
you learned it.
Mm-hmm.
I burden with it. And the past few months of like really working on letting things go like that, I just feel my head feels lighter, like my shoulders feel lighter. Like, I feel like I'm gliding more through life than just kind of like, you know, pushing things to the side and holding my breath, because I don't want people to know that, like, I'm hurt or whatever.
I think one thing too, which we've been touching on a lot, it's a new year, and Dara has been working on gratitude and writing down stuff in a gratitude journal. And I think that also helps your perspective of,
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going through all this stuff. Life is hard sometimes, but here are all the good things that are happening. And here are all the things that I can't complain about, because it's really beautiful, and this is what's happening that's great. So that's awesome. It was a really good answer.
And that's the thing too. It's like, yes, we need to address the shadow self. We need to tap out that stuff, because it's been stuck there. I mean, it's there anyway. I'm like, do you want to address it or not? Because otherwise it's going to stay and it's going to come out a different way. Right. We don't want that. And I'm sure with your dad, maybe it comes out in different ways, perhaps bursts of anger or something else. Yeah. But like, if we don't feel it, it's stuck. And so, yes, we need to get that stuff out. And then there's the other side of the coin, which is the gratitude and the anchoring in what we want to create for ourselves. But too often there's like, I feel like there's the wellness world and the personal development world. All they teach about is be positive, be positive. And like, yes, that's one side of the coin though. We have to excavate all the stuck stuff and in order for the positive stuff to actually stick and to work. And that because I teach a rapid manifesting method, that it's like, rapid. If you want rapid results, you can get it, but you can't just focus on the positive. But the gratitude and the daily wins, I have clients check in with me every day and share their daily wins, and I cheer them on, because yes, we need to focus on that while getting out the old stuff too.
Yeah. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. If you don't actually clear out the gunk underneath, you're not going to fix an issue.
Yeah. Take out the bullet, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you nerd out about in your free time? Getting a little goofier.
Oh my God. Well, I'm such a healing nerd. I mean, I know we've been talking about this the whole time, which is why I'm nerding out on it. Just teaching about manifesting, just teaching everyone that your perspective creates your reality. And we literally are manifesting from whatever programs we're running. And so the moment that we remove those programs, then we're in a new reality. Like, you guys we're sitting right now in the new place that I just moved into less than a month ago. We're sitting in a recording studio that is in my building, and I live in a 3-bedroom penthouse. And like, I did not have this 6 months ago, but I've implemented the things that I teach, and I've rapidly manifested the life that I want, that I know is available for everyone. Sure. If we just decided to tweak our perspectives, realize that everything we're creating right now in our lives is just a reflection of what we believe, and then clean the stuff out so that we can create something different.
Yeah. So I know we're supposed to be closing, but I'm just so interested. So as far as manifestation, like I know it's a lot of it's like you're picturing it and like visualization. But what does that actually look like? How do you, because you obviously have to do things to prepare for it. So is it kind of, so maybe give us the example of how did you get into this great apartment?
Yeah.
And, you know, was it a matter of you had to pursue getting more clients so that you could afford to live in this like really nice apartment? Or is it working extra hard? Or is it just sitting and accepting? Or
yeah, this is where I wrote the notes. Okay, this is good stuff, because this is also for musicians. Okay, so I had forced, because you said, are you going to ask me that question, or do you want me to just go into that now too? Okay, so you had said, what advice do I have for struggling artists? First of all, don't call yourself a struggling artist, because that's your perspective. You're going to struggle. Like, say every day in every way I'm getting more and more seen. Every day in every way I'm stepping more and more into my power as an artist. I'm here to make an impact. I'm here to be great. Affirm those things, and then start doing the inner work to get out all the old limiting beliefs, because the limiting beliefs are the only things that are holding you back. Once you clear that, you are free, and it is our birthright to be free. And so I had 4 steps for quote unquote struggling artists. 1, use your skill sets to make money. Okay, I feel like so many artists are like, oh, well, I just want to get known. Believe me, this was me when I moved out to LA. I was like, oh, I'm just going to instantly get famous because I'm great. Like, yes. First of all, I had so much trauma to process, so I wasn't ready for it then. But use your skill sets to make money. Like, I know that if you're a great musician, you're also good at a bunch of other things too. So like for me, I went into the healing world, and I make like really good money that I now invest back into my music career, and I'm making kick-ass songs with amazing producers. But I'm continually reinvesting in myself because I invested in my skill sets and learned new things to make money doing what I love. I don't want anyone making money doing what they hate. That's also going to manifest this struggle world for you. So use your skill sets. Say, what am I passionate about? What can make me money? And then use that to fuel your music career. And so step 2 is invest in yourself and your career. So that, again, is the self-worth, the self-respect factor. A lot of, again, quote unquote, struggling musicians, they just expect everything for free. They just say, well, I'm so good that, producers should just work with me for free. And it's like, no, if you respect yourself, you respect money. Right. And if you respect money, you respect yourself. And it's just like this whole new echelon of thinking, like, okay, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going, and money is all money is it's an energy exchange. So if you think about it that way, money is just energy. We can actually control how money works for us once we clear our limiting beliefs around money, which I had a lot. A lot. I'm still dealing with stuff that comes up. The more money I make, I'm like, oh my God, am I a bad person? Because, I heard in Minnesota, if you have a lot of money, you're evil, right? Like, we hear a lot of these things that just don't serve us. It just keeps us small. And, that's like the world, God, the universe wants us to be infinitely abundant. There is access to that. We've just got to clear the stuff. And so step 3, do the inner work, right? Because it's like, all right, if you want to be successful, and you see all the child stars who get super famous and then they get into drugs and alcohol because they didn't do the inner work. They weren't prepared for the success. So if you're an artist or, whatever business you're in and you want to be successful, you've got to do the inner mental, emotional, spiritual work. Because otherwise, if you've been manifesting your whole life, you might manifest it and then you're like, oh crap, I'm not ready to receive this. Then that doesn't, it all is integrated together. And then step 4 is have fun. Because if you're not having fun, then what are you doing this for? We're here to have fun. We're here to live this adventurous life and to make an impact. At least that's what I'm doing it for.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about that have fun part.
Did I answer your question or? Okay.
So do you have a favorite personal routine, like something that you do every day, no questions asked, like you have to do this because it just gets either whether it's getting your day started or unwinding your day? What does that look like to you?
So personal routines are very they're something that I've wanted to implement for a long time. I'm a total Gemini. I don't know, what are your guys' signs?
We're both Virgos.
Virgo, okay. I'm a Gemini, so I'm like fly off the seat of my pants type person. I've tried to implement different morning routines, but then I find that kind of like locks me down and I don't want to feel locked down. So I go in and out of having morning routines in general. But what I do recently do is I wake up and I say a very powerful prayer. And it's a prayer of gratitude. It's a prayer of thanks. It's a prayer of all my affirmations too after that. And then I blast my favorite song, whatever it is at the time. So like right now it's Walk on Water by 30 Seconds to Mars. I know I'm like 4 years behind, but
That's awesome. It's a great song. It's an objectively good song.
That you can walk on water, right? And so like
good.
I literally am like standing and stomping and I'm saying this prayer that's on my phone, and part of the prayer is like, this, I expect miracles daily, this or better, God, show me the greatest thing I could never even imagine. And so I step into the energy of who I want to become, even if I'm not there yet, so I visualize myself stepping into the energy of massive unconditional love and abundance, because that is our true birthright, in my opinion, that we all have access to that. So I step into it every day, say this prayer, I shout it from the rooftops, I expect miracles, and then that's what happens.
Awesome. So we're going to lighten it up. Just because I was really thinking of that. I'm jamming in my head right now.
Yeah, right.
So what's your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. Well, my biggest
Good.
By the way, pet peeves are great things to tap on because it's usually a judgment about yourself. Some of my biggest pet peeves are when people interrupt me when I'm reading or writing.
Ooh.
Like if I'm writing an email and someone comes and starts talking at me, I'm like, do you not see that I'm in the flow right now? So that really bothers me when people waste my time, but again, that's just a reflection of me wasting my own time and being mad at myself for that. So yeah, I psychoanalyze everything.
Same.
But then I would say my biggest pet peeve, and this is something that I've been really working through, especially now being in the place that I'm at, is not being able to help someone who doesn't want the help, because like I feel like I have so much to give the world, and oftentimes the people closest to us our parents, right? Or people that we really, really love, that we want to help, or we learn a new technique or tool and we want to share it with them, and they're literally like blank faced, I don't want anything to do with this. And so as a healer and coach and like speaker, like I need to learn to reel in my stuff and say, okay, I can't force anyone to heal. And then they'll come to me when they're ready. And so it's a pet peeve and a lesson for me, all in one, to be like, I have the answer, but like you don't want it, and like it really, really hurts me because I want to help you.
Just let me heal you.
Yeah. I know, but then that's not the energy that I want to be coming at my loved ones with either, and so I've really worked to let that go. And in the meantime, it's been amazing because the moment I let that go and the attachments and the expectations, a lot of people have been coming around saying, oh, what's that tapping thing that you talk about a lot? Like, can I learn a little bit more? Or I focus more on my clients, because my clients find me through like Yelp and online. And so like the people who want to heal, I put all my energy into them, because I'm like, let's get you amazing results. And then I can pray and wish, pray and send love and light to everyone else.
Sure. So what do you splurge on, and what are you cheap about?
Ooh, these are so good. These are good questions, ladies. Okay.
Hair toss.
Yeah. What do I splurge, like spend a lot of money on? Okay, well, I like, my environment is really important to me. So living in a nice place is very, very important to me, because our environment shapes our entire reality. So rent is usually one of my top, splurges. I like nice purses, Come on, we got to have a
is
nice,
beautiful.
right? We have to have a nice purse, ladies. They last at least a year, right? It's like I'm having this.
Oh, I've had nice purses that I've bought that last, like, I'm like, I'm never going to buy another purse again.
What's so funny is I'm the complete opposite. I have a small backpack, a big backpack, and a fanny pack, and I don't carry purses. I'm like, I will carry my phone and my wallet in my pocket. I don't want to carry things.
Yeah. Well, when I go to like events and stuff, I pass it all off to my fiance, which, by the way, we didn't talk at all about that, but I've, manifested the love of my life, and we're expecting a beautiful baby in April. So that's a whole nother part of the manifesting process that worked out for me. And it's not a codependent relationship. It's an interdependent relationship, and it's beautiful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are you cheap about?
What am I cheap about? Ordering furniture. I always want to like get those, when you move to a new place and they send you a 20% off coupon at overstock.com or Wayfair. I love those coupons. And I will make different email addresses to order all my new furniture with the 10% off, because I just want the 10% off.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm a coupon gal.
Yeah.
Like, I love coupons. Like, I love to have like discount things, like anywhere that I can, even if it's like, I was doing the Lyft has this thing where it's like wait and save, and it was only like $1.26 that I was saving per ride, but I was like, I'll wait. I don't gotta be anywhere at any specific time. Like, I'll save myself $1.
When my Kroger coupons come in the mail, it's like the win of the month.
Yes. I mean, I think we can all get off to a good deal,
Oh yeah. So what is kind of an unknown secret of your industry? Being a life coach, healer, what's like something that people don't really know?
An unknown secret. I think that there's a lot to say here, but that's why I said to do your research before you work with someone. Make sure that they're on podcasts, that there's interviews about them out there publicly sharing their story. Make sure that they've done the work and that they're continuing to do the work before working with them. Because I've been in a lot of masterminds, I've been in a lot of coaching programs where there's people that are putting themselves out there as a healer or a coach, and it's not always either coming from the best place or they're coming like a lot of psychics, I know they get a bad rep because they're like, oh, I just want your money. And that's a whole nother story. I don't believe in that stuff because I believe in channeling it yourself,
right?
And empowering clients to channel it for themselves instead of delegating a higher power to someone else. But just there's a lot of the dark side of the industry that I've seen just being in it and growing. And so I'm always committed to showing up every day for myself first and doing that inner work so that I can be there for my clients. And then I share that with them. We hop on calls and they always ask how I'm doing, and I'll give them a little 2-minute synopsis of like the stuff I'm going through so that they can not only see that I'm doing the work, but that they can get inspired by that and say, ooh, I never thought about that one.
That's awesome.
So like the unknown secret is that a lot of people aren't putting in the work. Is that what you're saying? Like different life coaches, some of them you just have to be wary of them.
Or they're saying that like, oh, like there's a lot of Facebook ads like, I have it all, I truly have it all, and then like really they're super in debt and they don't have it all, but they're just putting on this facade that it eventually will probably begin to break down if you're not doing the real work. And I'm not here to bad talk anyone. I'm just saying that based on the question you asked, that's what popped up first.
Just like do your research, basically. Like make sure that if you're seeking a life coach, that they're legit. Because I guess there definitely are people. I think we spoke with another group of life coaches before that were like, anybody can call themselves a coach.
Yep.
But if you don't have the certain certifications and you don't go through the certain processes, it kind of degrades you a little bit and kind of takes away that credibility.
And feel out people's energy. I mean, I'm an energy person. I choose to work with people based on their energy, not based on their certifications.
Sure.
But I can feel into someone's soul and be like, hey, you're pretty awesome.
Right.
Like, let's do this.
Hell yeah.
I just know that it's meant to be.
Right on. All right, cool. Well, we've got one last question for you. We want to know, what is your favorite band or type of music?
Ooh. There's multiple answers to this. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So my favorite band of all time is Dream Theater.
I don't think so either.
They are a progressive rock band. that were founded way back in like late 70s, early 80s. They still tour to this day. They have a huge underground following. Yeah, look them up. Progressive rock. I am such a rock nerd. Like, I am the one blonde female in the, mosh pit with all of these old men with beards that are sweating. And I love it.
And leather.
Yes. I love every second of it. So
awesome.
School rockers.
Yeah.
I love it.
In fact, I went to Berklee College of Music solely because Dream Theater went there and they met there.
Wow.
Like, I was so obsessed with them, like starting at age 16.
That's
and
so
on
cool.
And it's been, if you look at my Instagram channel, I actually made a post about them recently because they did a 20-year reunion tour in Nashville, and it's a tour where they actually did a concept album about past life regression. Wow. And it's like so crazy because I remember when I was 16 years old listening to this album, it was someone rediscovering their life purpose through living someone else's life. And I was like, that's such a cool concept. And now here I am, a hypnotherapist and past life regressionist. So I'm like, it really comes full circle. So
for sure.
Love prog rock. But then what I really enjoy, like writing, my my biggest inspiration in songwriting is Nicole Nordman, and she's a Christian singer-songwriter. Yeah.
I kind of forgot about her, to be honest. She is a great songwriter.
She's amazing. I call her work liquid poetry. It is phenomenal. It is divine. And talk about manifesting. Just 3 months ago, I got the honor to work with her directly at this retreat, this writer's retreat, where we were writing about our traumas and healing. And she was there, and she heard my story, and we took a photo together, and she was just like, Jourdan, I'm so inspired by you. I'm like, I've been inspired by you my whole life. I'm such a fangirl.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So it was really, really cool to come full circle with her too, and to just share with her how much she's changed my life. And then to hear back from her, like, wow, you're doing a great job. I love your new single, and I'm going to be following you.
Wow. Dream come true. That's awesome. That's awesome.
She's great.
Hell yeah. Well, Jourdan, thank you so much for taking the time to sit and talk with us. This has been fascinating. I feel like I'm trying to deal with like all my goosebumps and like emotions that I feel like it's really cool to know that you can do this. Like, you can change your life around. You can manifest the things that you want. You can affirm for yourself who you are on a regular basis. And you're right. It's not just about let's be positive and kumbaya. Like, sometimes you really have to get dirty with things. So it's really been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. And just it can be easy. That's just what I want to, like, the message I want to give everyone who's listening. Like, the world needs what you have. So dig in, do the work, and it can be easy and it can be fun.
Yes.
So just allow it to be, and then your life is going to change.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Beyond Broke and Hungry. Stay tuned for next week. We sat down with Athena's life coaching, Laura in Honor. They've got a great bit of advice to give to you, and we can't wait to share it with you. As always, follow us on social at Beyond Broke and Hungry. You can check out our website, beyondbrokenhungry.com. And stay tuned. We'll see you next week.